Hi, welcome to Sportsy, Let's Talk Sports. We have spoken to so many athletes and administrators, and we always understand one thing that sports can grow with the larger event, larger ecosystem, and getting marketing and monetization to sports. Today, we have with us an experienced sports professional with over 18 years of experience in managing biggest sporting events, global brands, marketing, and monetization. Yes, all the things which are required for sports to become successful. A strong business development professional, skilled in customer service, advertising, integrated marketing, business development, and marketing strategy. Having worked across ESPNSTAR, Nike, IPL, to ISL, to heading the group marketing and strategy for Reliance Sports, he's a perfect guide and mentor that you can have in this if you are trying to make your careers in sports industry in India. From his passion, converting to profession, and spreading his experience with so many people, he took it forward by when he founded Sporjo. Sporjo is a platform that is born out of expertise in the Indian sports industry that helps create a meritocratic pathway for turning your passion into profession. So, looking forward to Srini, CEO founder of Sporjo, where he will be talking to us about meritocratic pathway for turning your passion into profession. All in all, a perfect session for anybody and everybody who is looking for their careers in sports industry and converting their passion into profession. Thank you for liking, thank you for sharing, and thank you for watching. We really appreciate all the support that you are giving to Sportsy Says. But please do subscribe on our channel Sportsy Says and help us spread the word. We go with the same handle Sportsy Says across all social media platforms. Help us spread the word about Sportsy. Let's talk sports. Hey, hi Srini, great to have you on Sportsy. Let's talk sports.
Pleasure.
It's a for the viewers, yes. For the people who are from the sports industry and the brand industry, Srini needs no introduction. Having a glorious career from ESPNSTAR to Nike to IPL, ISL to heading the group strategy and the group marketing for Reliance Sports, one of the biggest properties in India. And 18, 20 years of experience, hardcore sports experience and the brand experience. I don't think we can ask for any better mentor, guide or advisor when it comes to careers in sports or how to convert your passion into profession. So Srini, today's session is going to be so amazing that for all the people, all the listeners of this show are completely hardcore sports guys who are looking for making their careers in sports. At the same time, it's not only them trying to make a career in sports, it is they are trying to convince their parents that how the sports industry is good. You took a plunge long back. I took a plunge few years back to be in sports. But I think this is where a lot of people will get a lot of clarity from you. And before we start, for congratulations on Sporjo, a phenomenal platform. And I think it is a perfect way of combining all your 18, 20 years of experience and helping the industry and making a model for Indian sports entrepreneurship, the sports tech industry as well, giving a vision for that. So welcome and looking forward to this chat.
Thank you. Likewise, looking forward to the chat.
Yes. So my first question to you on this, you had a glorious career over the sports corporates, but it was always planned or it just happened by chance?
I was crazy about sports when even as a kid. The last thing I can remember was being as far back as I can go. I mean, when I was 5-7 years old, I was crazy about sports since then. And that was like, sports is like oxygen to me. I mean, that's why our company is called Breathe. The name of the company is Breathe because you breathe sports. And I was always wanting to do something with sports, but there were obviously not many opportunities back then. Okay. Sports sort of came naturally to me, whether it was playing or watching or reading about it. Yeah. So I played pretty much every sport, cricket, football, basketball, table tennis, squash, tennis, except golf. Yeah. Which I hopefully will do now. But played it to a decent level, but I guess wasn't talented at any one of them, or if I had pursued one, maybe I would have got somewhere. Yeah. So I guess, at that point, there were not many opportunities to sort of look forward to. There are not even now, right? Because that's why we sort of started Sporjo. So I guess I guess then I joined my first love, my second love, which was advertising, and worked there for 4 years. I guess the brightest moments in those 2 years was winning the cricket tournament in a media cricket tournament, and when I worked on the ad for LG, which wished India all the best for the World Cup. So I mean, 1999.
1999, yeah.
So both the moment highlights of that time were still in sports. Then I went to Muscat for a couple of years, worked there in advertising for about 2.5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And one day I you have these moments when you're all alone. You started writing down what do you want to do in life, and the first 5 things I wrote were sports. So I decided I've sort of had enough, and I came back to India without a job. And this I'm talking about to 2001. There were not many companies then. The ESPN, there was Cricinfo, there was ESPNSTAR, etc. I applied and I got a job 6 months later with ESPN. So I haven't looked back since.
Excellent. I think this is such a great journey to have, and it's I think the passion dream do come true, and as we say, the dreams should you should be chasing the dreams which you don't see in the while you're sleeping, but while your eyes are open.
Absolutely.
So, and while I was listening to your story, it was so much that I also echoed the same journey, that I had played multiple sports, never got into any particular sport beyond a state level kind of thing. And then I was all alone in the US when the whole 2010-11 time frame, while I was all alone in the US, and that's how the whole thing happened to me. Where do I want to be?
Yeah.
And first 5 things were sports for me. So I think it was so nice to hear that. So you just mentioned that your sporting journey started with ESPNSTAR. While it was a very new and almost unknown thing for India, what were the challenges in India that you faced while only game known to the people and the media was cricket?
So that's an interesting question. When I was there was only cricket at that point in time. So if you look at the landscape in 2001, there was only television, linear television, right?
Correct.
There was no streaming. There was no social media. There was only one way to consume sport, and that was cricket. ESPN had pretty much all the properties at that point in time. It was only one. Sony came in only in 2003, and then when they took the rights of the World Cup. Even when ESPN had pretty much all the content, it was clear that you needed to build other sports as well.
Right.
ESPN was a broadcaster, so things were looked at pretty much from a broadcast perspective. Yeah.
Right.
But there were a few things that we did. I mean, we worked on the Premier League to see how we can sort of leverage the passion at that point in time. But again, Premier League was watched by a fraction of the audience. It still does, right? It's still a fraction of the universe. But I guess so. I worked across most departments there: broadcast, marketing, ad sales, business development. But my favorite project there was working on I was one of the project leaders for this thing called the Premier Hockey League, and it was India's first intercity sports tournament.
Right.
Yeah. Everything was wrong about that. If you look at the business models today, it was owned by a broadcaster. It was run by a broadcaster. Everything was owned by the broadcaster. But working on it was outstanding because I got a taste of what events should be, how they should be organized, players' perspective, federation's perspective, fans' perspective, broadcast perspective. So got a lot of insights of working in sports because of the 2 years that I organized it in. First one was in Hyderabad, which was Gachibowli, far away. We were figuring out how to get people in. The second one was in Chandigarh, where I was based for almost a month. And temperature was like about 1 degree or 2 degrees, and you would see 35,000 people in the stadium. That was like awesome. I mean, it would give you goosebumps watching it. And I had to sign the man of the match check after that. And I couldn't even hold my pen. Imagine these guys holding hockey sticks and playing hockey there. So Premier Hockey League was probably was one of my favorite projects because it made me learn so much. Like I said, the project itself was not successful, but the learnings it gave all of us was out of the world.
I'm sure that the learnings of Premier Hockey League we still remember, and there were 2 challenges, right? One is growing, even though hockey is known to everybody. India got a lot of accolades to India, but still not seen the commercial success. And cricket at one side was growing with so many things, I think, and building a first property at the franchisee or city level model. I think that's a great learning, and that's actually a on the job learning. And that is something I think whatever I have read about your and knowing you in person is about just do it. And with that, just do it. I think my next question, I'm sure you know about working with Nike, one of the biggest brand in the world, but always considered to be a premium segment still in India, even though penetration is pretty high. So how does that a brand like Nike looks at the India market, which is not a very I'll say they are still a cost sensitive market and still trying to establish themselves. I remember hearing from Jatin that only Srisant was signed by Nike at one time, and how he was running after so other athletes to make sure the safeguard to have the balance for themselves. But while during your journey with Nike, how do you think the Nike was looking at India market and growing in India?
So I guess after all the learning from ESPN, I got to work with, as you rightly said, one of the best brands in the world, right? And I consider Nike my school because it's pretty much taught me everything in marketing. Nike had a very clear set of fundamental principles. Yeah, we used to call it the maxims, right? They're so simple. Yeah, and life is so simple. This is how a company should operate. And I decided that the day I open a company, the intentions should be as pure as how Phil Knight started it out to be, right? And that's what we believe in with Sporjo also. I mean, as long as you create value for people, I'm sure the results will come. So coming back to Nike, I think Nike, there are three key things that I sort of can point out. First is the mission statement, of course, bring inspiration and innovation to every athlete in the world. Yes. So inspiration through their athletes, through their assets, through their teams is what makes Nike great. Yeah, because it's very, very important to inspire people to play sports, watch sports, or to make sports associated with a part of their daily lives. The second is innovation, because I think Nike makes absolutely cutting edge technology products. So product is what gets you business, right? And so inspiration, innovation. Innovation is key because I've had the opportunity to see the Nike Sports Research Lab, NSRL as it's called. Entry is banned for everyone. You cannot enter NSRL. Even if you are an employee for like 15, 20 years, you cannot enter it because they spend millions of dollars on technology. Like, for example, someone, we somehow got like 1 hour inside and we were like over the moon. We were walking there and I was like, what happened there? It's like, oh, Rooney was here last week. He was testing his new boot. I was like, wow, man. So the amount of emphasis they put into making every product better every time is ridiculous. So, I mean, for example, when we thought the Nike Mercurial with the shoe the boot that Ronaldo wears, correct, how much more lighter can you make it? Because every time they manage to shave off some, I think 100 grams lighter or 50 grams lighter, how is it possible? Then there won't be a shoe after a point in time. So what I'm saying is innovation is really, really crucial. And I guess the other important thing from Nike is business, right? They are profitable and successful in pretty much whatever they do, right? Yes, some products are out of reach for a common man. I can afford to buy Nike products right now, yeah, but I may not buy it.
Yes.
Right. So business is very, very important for Nike. I mean, as far as margins, etc., concerned, because they're a listed company, so profitability is key for their shareholders as well. So I think these three things, inspiration, innovation, and business are really, really crucial, and those are the things that I sort of imbibed and learned from Nike. I mean, Nike sort of was wanting to, if you're talking about, as per your question, specifically for India, they had the best asset in the country, which is the Indian national cricket team. Did they use it well? Personally, I don't think so. I was part of the team which sort of made the 2007 traffic jam ad, which is probably considered one of the best ads ever. Yeah. But India crashed out of the World Cup, right?
Yes.
At that point in time, when you sort of, there was inspiration, there was innovation. We planned a whole lot of business around it, but that completely tanked because India exited the World Cup. So I think picking up an asset in the country, inspiration, innovation, and using that asset to build their business would be Nike's strategy for a market like India.
Wow. And I think you in these 3 words you spoke about the journey of a successful marketeer. That as once you have the product, I think it's a marketeer's dream place once you have the product to sell. And with this kind of company ethics, I think it works everywhere. Even same three fundamental, if you use in Sporjo, I think they fit everywhere. You have to be inspirational. You have to have the innovation. Otherwise, people will not look at it, and it has to be aspirational. So it is. It's so good. And with Nike, with 2007 crashing, India crashing out, and then winning the T20 World Cup, the big bang tamasha happened for India, which is 2008, the IPL, and you were there when it all happened. Uh, Immediately after that, after a few seasons of successful IPL, we had ISL. So IMG Reliance and then Reliance actually got into the whole journey. How did India and mainly IMG Reliance pursued football in India? I'll not go to cricket because otherwise we can talk for hours together with the whole IPL journey. While I would like to talk of understand from you on the commercial strategy of IPL, how it happened the first day. But after that, I would like to understand from you about how the IMG Reliance pursued football in India.
Sure. So, shall I start with IPL?
Yeah, I think that will be good.
Sure.
Yeah.
So for IPL, I guess after you build a property like that, the platform itself is wonderful. So I think IPL is a property tailor-made for the Indian market. Right? India is not a subscription market; it's an advertiser-driven market. And cricket, with 2,400 to 2,600 seconds every T20 match, is an advertiser's dream. Right? With 4 strategic timeouts of 2.5 minutes each. So that itself is a lot of secondage, and the market thrives on selling that secondage. What the property of having world-class players play in it also helps them on the distribution side. Now, as rights holders, what was important was to ensure that the quality is paramount. It's held in a world-class style. Broadcast was world-class. You have a set of sponsors which you go and get, right? Maintain good equations with your broadcasters. There are certain rights that you sell for overseas markets. So those were part of my profile to not just marketing, but also creating, getting sponsors. Now, getting sponsors, everybody would say for IPL is very, very easy. But when you had to sell sponsorships at 25 crores, you cannot sell it at 24.99. You have to sell it at 25, right? So there's little room for negotiation, and there are very few brands who can afford that much. 25 is just what you pay to IPL. Over and above that, you need to market, activate, etc. So I think that was a good sort of challenge where you understood what premium means and how much premium would you sort of how much premium would a certain brand pay to be on a property like IPL, and how do they sort of leverage it? And as the rights holder, what all value can you give them so that they meet their desired business stroke brand objectives? That's as far as the overall commercial strategy of IPL was concerned. Yeah.
Right.
So I was in IPL from 2011 to 2013. That's when I got a call from Reliance to work on the football league. It was it was a mixed decision. I mean, anyone could say slam dunk because it's football. Slam dunk because you were part of the team which is going to start something, right? Slam dunk because it is Reliance, right?
Yes.
And on the flip side, a lot of people ask me, football kaun dekhta hai India mein?
Yeah.
Are you leaving IPL and joining ISL? Are you serious? Here you're used to 30,000 people cramming the stadium, right? And you're going to go there with, I mean, people don't even pay for football right now. I said, we'll see. So I guess not IMG Reliance particularly. IMG Reliance was a party to the JV, but it's not IMG Reliance, it's FSDL, Football Sports Development Limited, which is a JV between Reliance and Star, which runs ISL. So ISL, IPL, while you had oversight of various departments, but you were focused on marketing and sponsorship. But here it was operations, it was making t-shirts, ensuring all this is done. Are line markings happening there? Has that vendor been finalized? Has this person? So got sort of an oversight of pretty much the way the entire league had happened. It wasn't new to me. I mean, if you managed IPL, you managed Champions League, T20, I think it was. But I guess the key thing there was you are creating a new category. You are pitching you are pitching a new sport to India in a different avatar, right? Because everybody had a not very good views on Indian football. Yeah, Indian football was carrying a baggage, and to do that, and sort of when it started in 2014, everyone was like, "Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens." I mean, there were a lot of naysayers in the industry, in the fraternity, as fans, as advertisers. But I mean, it took us a slightly longish time to prove them wrong. But I think we've got there. So very clearly, it was the mission was very, very clear. India needs to qualify for the World Cup. Yeah, which World Cup? Plan was set anything between maybe 26 and 30. Very, very clearly. This was in 2014. 26 and 30 without being the host. Yeah. So 2014, before we started, India was 172 in the world out of 209 countries that play football. Now India is 108. Yeah. Now in 5 years, a rise like this, I think it's happened because of something. Players who, I mean, we only knew Baichung Bhutia and IMGR before that. Right now, you know names of at least 10. You can name at least 10 Indian players. Broadcast is world class. The surface looks green. Yeah, it's got subsurface drainage. Yes. There are international players who come and play, young international players, not old ones. It's broadcast in high quality in 5 to 6 different languages. So, you know, there are, I mean, we have world-class brands as sponsors. There's Hero. There is, I mean, Hero would probably be the longest brand sponsoring any event if it sponsors this for 9 years. Yeah. Now, so more and more sponsors came. Football started becoming a household name. If you watch a match in Kerala, I mean, I watched a match in Kerala. I watched a match at Old Trafford. I watched a match at Camp Nou. For me, Kerala is the best experience ever a football fan can have.
Oh, wow.
Better than Manchester United, better than Barcelona. And I can say this because I've watched those games, more than one game there. So that's what, and you get goosebumps saying, wow, man, I was sort of played a small part in what has been achieved till date. So I think the focus, like I said, the mission was for India to qualify. But the more important thing than ISL was just one part of the equation. You need to build the pyramid of Indian football. And that's important for any sport. The bottom is grassroots, 6 to 12. Above that are under 13, 15, 17, 19 tournaments. Above that is the second division league, then the Premier League, which is ISL, and then the national team. So the moment any sport seeks to jump this and go straight to the league, everyone thinks league chala successful ho jayega sport. It doesn't work like that. Right. Because you're only building one part of the house, the 12th floor. I mean, how will the foundation stand? Right. So the mission was to build a pyramid of Indian football, and has it been built till now? We're still a distance away, but at least the foundation has been laid. So the focus was build the pyramid, because unless the pyramid is strong, your Indian team will not be strong, and it will not qualify for the World Cup.
Yes, I think so very well said about building the foundation, and to build a sport in India, even though we knew about it, but it was never a household for so many years. I think that is what the journey is, and Reliance got into sports with say Mumbai India, and today they are playing the finals. And from there to owning the ISL and taking it to the next level, and the kind of effort, the money and everything goes in by Reliance, and you played a big role heading the group strategy and the group marketing for them. I think it's a phenomenal journey. And from there now, want to hear about Sporjo, which is actually enabling so many people, so many kids, aspirants of the industry to understand where they are and what all they can look at. So while we talk about Sporjo, firstly, we would like to understand from you, what is the landscape of Indian sports ecosystem that an aspirant can look at, and how can Sporjo help in that journey?
So whenever I do webinars with institutes, I always ask them, how many roles are there how many verticals and how many roles are there in sports? Yeah, I mean, I did that in the symbiosis webinar also, where you were also there, right? Yes. So what I'm saying is, there is very less knowledge of the ecosystem.
Correct.
Which means there'll be even less knowledge of what roles there are there. And even less knowledge of what the industry is facing as challenges. Like Nike, you can understand. Products are very expensive, they're premium. You know the problem.
Correct.
Right? But here, you don't have a clue at all. So I think the first attempt of Sporjo is to drive awareness that, yes, there is a career in sport. And I give my example. I've spent 20 years there. Yeah. And to demystify the world of sport, because everyone thinks sports is only IPL. And if I'm working in IPL, I'll have a coffee with Virat Kohli. Ain't happening. It's not going to happen. Yeah. So how do you demystify sports and sort of use the passion and the emotion that people have positively to convert that into profession? Mm-hmm. So I think the landscape right now there are lots of challenges from both the candidate as well as the employer side. Candidates feel that I watch a Champions League match at 1:15, I know all the statistics, I should get a job in sport. It doesn't work like that. Second, I've played for my state, I should work in sport. It doesn't work like that, right? It's or I've done sports management from outside India, from a big college outside. It doesn't work like that, right? Employers don't want that. So Sporjo will help the candidate as well as the employer. The employers want candidates all the time, but they're looking at the wrong place. There's no job mapping. It takes a long time to sort of hire people, right? So Sporjo aims to solve everybody's problems and all of them using, because all the 20 years of experience have sort of put into this, right? Saying what will it take for to help a candidate step by step? What will it take to help an employer step by step? So reduce lead times for the employer. For a candidate, check this. This is what they should know. So right now, if the level of awareness on a scale of 0 to 100 would be about 5 to 6. After the Sporjo process, we believe it should be at least about 60. So at least we make them job ready with things that they should be knowing rather than the numbers and the number of passes per player.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
Yeah, that's a bonus. I'm not saying that's not important. That's a bonus, but that's not the only thing.
Mm-hmm. So I think this is so amazing, and this is something is very much required for Indian industry. That yes, we found our way being the early adopters or being, but right now with Sportsy, GISB, and so many colleges which are coming up in the sports industry, I think this is something that parents are also confused about, because parents never think that if somebody is taking a SIBM admission or SCM HRD, so no, they are not thinking about it. They are happy. But somebody even in the as a brand name like Sportsy is taking sports management, then they are feeling, "Iske aage kya karega bhai? Tu kaise karega?" And even the students come there with the mindset that I can play, I love sports, so I can make a career in that. So that is where I would like to understand what do you mean by it's meritocratic pathway. The term that you use explaining Sporjo, what exactly that term is?
Yeah. So the sports industry has evolved a lot in India. It's a $1 billion industry. It's moved from being a sector to an industry, but the hiring still needs to catch up. It's a long way back. Yeah. Now I give this example all the time. Let's take the example of a runner. Yeah. If someone runs very fast and they say, I want to take part in the next Olympics, you'll say, okay, just hang on. You'll first test them to see how fast they run, how they run. Is the technique okay? Are they prone to injuries or not? Then there could be some parts that you could improve with training, right? You would improve that, the start, the middle, or the end for a sprinter. Right. Yeah. Now, right. And then you send them to competition. Similarly, if you get a candidate, right, you will first need to test them. Where do they stand? What do they need to work on, right? And then get them the job. So the Sporjo process is divided into 3 parts. I mean, it's the Sporjo formula is passion, personality, and proficiency. The first thing we do is we test, we assess, saying where are you on your passion, where are you on your personality, and where are you on your proficiency. Proficiency would mean questions on sports with a lens of that vertical. For example, if you're interested in sales, you should know which brand is there on the back of Delhi Daredevils, who's playing today, right. Or which brand is there on the sleeve of Manchester City. If you are interested in digital, you should know which football club has the maximum Instagram following in the world. Right. So on personality, we can accurately map a candidate to the role that they're likely to succeed in. It's a difference between I think I'm good at that vis-a-vis a third-party evaluation of you. So with that report, we can say passion score, personality score, proficiency score, plus a lot of information that we take. And this is the information an employer would have never ever seen. They would have seen CVs, but this level of granular information through which we can point out multiple things. I mean, we can read at least 75 data points about a candidate from the information we take and give that to the employer. So you've taken the assessment. Second is a product called Sport Consult, where we put you face to face with industry experts. If you're interested in sales, you meet someone who's done sports sales for 12 to 15 years. Yeah. And the advice that you'll get is invaluable. I mean, try connecting through LinkedIn. It ain't happening. Yeah. Right. So while that happens, they will tell you what you need to work on personally and professionally, and then show you a pathway ahead. Next step is called Spore Prep, which are online modules, 3 to 5 minutes. Each module, a bit like a DIY stuff where you need to work hard yourself also. It's not spoon fed to you. Think for yourself, develop your point of view, and then, because those have been curated with the help of experts in the industry, which is what they discuss in office every day. The next part of Spore Prep is an online project, a real life project. It gives people a hands-on experience of working on real life business challenges. For example, increasing ticket sales of a franchise, or increasing the fan base of a franchise. Right now, all these are not fictitious case studies; they're real life case studies. But because if you do well, they might actually hire you.
Right.
So when I said meritocratic pathway, it is assessment, giving self-awareness. It is training, which gives you guidance, right? And eventually a job which maps you to the right people to the right job, rather than a job comes and 1,000 people apply to it.
Right.
This is the absolute meritocratic pathway that we have.
I think that this is defined pretty well, the way you explain the meritocratic pathway. I think it's a right now there has to be a method to madness, that everybody is in a sunrise industry. Everybody want to jump into it, and nobody knows whom to hire or where to apply. I think this is an amazing platform. So Srini, with Sporjo has been launched for us 5 to 6 months, and it has seen growing by leaps and bounds. So what do you think about the Indian landscape? Is it changing from the full-time job to doing multiple consulting job, or is it a time for us to start thinking differently and tell student or the aspirant to don't look at a full-time job all the time, and look at the consulting opportunity that you can get across multiple segments to grow your knowledge and experience?
A lot of people had part-time jobs because they were not full. I mean, there was no job for people full-time. Take, for example, IPL. IPL people usually join in, if you're working for a franchise, you join in January. Yeah. And by May it is over. In the balance 6 months, you can do whatever you want to.
Yeah.
Some of them even join in February. However, because the hiring has not sort of caught up, there could be part-time jobs, there could be full-time jobs as well. I mean, I don't foresee too long in the future when every IPL franchise will have an esports team.
Yes.
So which means you'll work through the year, right? You will not be doing Jan to March, so or Jan to May. So the point I'm trying to make is, right now, because it's not that structured, right? There are a lot of part-time jobs. However, as things sort of become a little more organized, I think sports will have a lot more full-time roles than part-time, because part-time seem to form a majority, because not many events last the whole year. Football and kabaddi at least last for 6 to 8 months in terms of preparation to finalization, to finish. So you have a full-time role in those places. But I think all the others come as 18-day, 31-day events and sort of go back. Right. So it'll be a healthy mix, in my opinion. But there will be a lot more full-time roles for franchises. May still have part-time roles, but people providing services to them, sports tech, a lot of tech part will surely be full-time roles.
Oh, this is good to know, because yes, as you rightly said, that a lot of people who are working across throughout the year, ISL, after IPL, ISL, PKL, I think they cover the whole 12 months on the consulting, and still at the end of the day, they don't know where they actually belong. And India has still not understood exactly what the consulting market is. So I think even the parents are confused about, should my kid take a full-time job, or should I take the part, or should I take the consulting job? I think this what you mentioned, I think, is very, very clear for them to understand in the whole process. So Srini, about the whole career that you had, and you work with Hockey League and the Champions League and IPL, ISL, what is that one thing that really stands out on the satisfaction level for you, and you feel that, okay, I have made a change and I'm responsible for making a change in Indian sporting landscape?
I think it'll be that's what I aim to do with Sporjo.
Okay.
So you work for so many years, you can't pinpoint one. You made a lot of difference. I mean, I guess when we made the Nike traffic jam ad, I've sat for meetings. It's been 13 years since we made that ad, right? Lots of meetings when agencies are presenting to you, they say, have you seen the Nike ad, the Nike cricket ad? It'll be like that. So I just nod my head. I said, yes, I've seen it. Yeah. So we maybe made a difference to the way sports is communicated, right? When you were in Premier Hockey League, right? Premier Hockey League, all the mistakes that you sort of made, you learned and you implemented it somewhere, right? So that again was okay. Doing $1 million sponsorships in IPL, right?
Yeah.
Was awesome. And I guess setting up ISL, which was, I was just a small part of the massive vision that Reliance had. But what I'm saying is, there you made a difference to players, to the ecosystem of football, to players, to groundsmen, to all the vendors who are associated with it, to people who help it market, to sponsors. You made a difference to the entire ecosystem. So at every stage, I believe, something has been added to someone. Yeah. So I firmly believe in value creation, because otherwise, you're just doing a job. Unless and until you add value to people's lives, directly to their lives and transform their lives, I don't think you're doing a sort of good job. And that's what I plan to do with Sporjo. At least look to transform people's lives through a simple process where it's just remained a dream or a hobby. Yeah. To transform that into, so that you don't have to wake up every morning before going to office and say, oh man, I have to go to office. Go with a smile and do your best. So that's what I hope to achieve with Sporjo, to add a difference to a lot of people's lives.
And I'm sure that is going to happen. It's one of a kind which is there and required for Indian market. And I wish I had Sporjo 15 years back or 18 years back.
I also wish.
Yeah, so it's so good. Coming to my last question, Srini, you are dealing with so many students and aspirants. What is your advice or guidance to the aspirants who want to be in sports industry? What is that they need to possess? What is that they need to look at while combining their passion to profession?
You've heard of 4 P's in marketing, but I would say 4 P's. Yeah. The first one is patience. Yeah. You need to be very, very patient. And I was without a job for 6 months. I'm talking about 2001, and then a lot of pressure from everyone, but I was very, very clear. I don't mean to be without a job, but what I'm saying is patience is really, really key, because I guess a lot of people get very impatient and get disillusioned very, very soon. So patience is the key, because you need to wait for a good opportunity to come your way and not jump at anything that comes first. The second was, yes, everybody is passionate about sports, right? But it's not, having a little bit of passion will not take you throughout into your entire sporting career. You need to continue to enhance your passion. You might be knowing a lot about football, slightly lesser about cricket, but you need to know about golf as well. You need to know about boxing as well. You need to know what's happening in UFC as well. Yeah, you need to know what's happening in esports as well. You may not be interested, but what I'm saying is, if a job comes there, you won't say, I won't take it because I'm interested only in working in cricket or in IPL.
Correct.
The third one is knowing your personality. It's very, very important to be self-aware. Saying there are certain things, it's easy to say, I'm good at everything, I'll do everything. I just kar lunga or kar lungi. It doesn't work like that. Every human being is different. So you need to know what are you good at, or what are you better at than something that you are good at. Identification is very key, and our process helps people do that, right? But I guess self-awareness of that is very, very crucial. The last thing is proficiency, which is what employers hire you for. You need to continue to build that for the rest of your life and not stop there. Just like passion, if you're picking up various sports, you need to say, or if you say, I want to do marketing, you can't do marketing for the rest of your life. You need to continue to enhance it, because marketing, what I started with in my career to what marketing is today, I wouldn't have survived if I hadn't learned.
Yeah.
So you need to continue to build your proficiency. If it's marketing, do marketing and tech. Learn about it, study about it, read about it, implement it, right? Or learn about how can marketing help drive sales. If you're working for a club, if you're working somewhere else, understand that. So I think patience, enhancing passion, knowing your personality, and building your proficiency. Those are the key things that I would tell pretty much everyone, and that's what I would tell aspirants.
Wow. And I think these P's should be written on the wall of every sports industry aspirants, what you spoke about. Just the way you said that I was not exactly getting something for 6 months. People ask me, what is I was doing a phenomenal thing in my career with Mindtree and IT industries in the US and all. People ask me, what was the biggest thing happened to you when you followed your passion? I said, my monthly paycheck became my annual paycheck.
Correct.
So I said, but hang in there. I think the things will happen if you follow if you have a proper approach to the whole thing. While I said that was my last question, but while you spoke about this, I just came with one last question again, and I'm sure this is going to be last question. We see a lot of girls have started taking admission for MBA now, MBA sports management specifically. Even Sportsy started with 2 girls in the first batch to all the way to 12, 13 girls in the current batch. How do you think that the girls or women in sports is actually improving now, or how is it growing?
First, to start with, I think it has to be recognized on pitch first. Yeah, and Wimbledon was one of the first to do that with having equal pay, equal prize money. I think it's while the US team still has been fighting for it with Megan Rapinoe leading it. Brazil has the Brazilian football team has said that both will be paid equally. So on pitch, it's slowly happening. The more women sports play on pitch, the more it will grow off pitch as well.
Yes.
Like somebody asked me, IPL has so much money, why don't they do this a full IPL for women? I said the same thing. The pyramid does not exist. Yeah, the pyramid exists in Australia for women's cricket. It does not exist in India. It exists to a slightly lower level in England. That's why they don't have it. But Australia has it complete. So the point is, the moment that pyramid is complete, there'll be tournaments. There'll be quality tournaments. If there are quality tournaments, more people will come and watch it, will come and invest in it. If more people do that, there'll be more people required to organize it. So I think having on-pitch success is the key for women's sport all over the world and in India, right? And having more and more women come and work in sports is absolutely awesome. We make it, consciously, we made a conscious effort at Sporjo. 40% of our staff is women.
Nice. Okay.
So it's conscious, and they are the same as anyone else in terms of passion for sport, everything. So and we also are planning to do something specifically for women working in sport. We'll launch it early next year.
Wow. And that is so awesome to hear. And yes, equal pay, equal. Everybody talks about it, but I think you making it into your own. Even if it's a startup, at that level you're starting it. I think that's what the vision of the company or the culture of the company also talks about. So Srini, really appreciate your time, and it's wonderful to hear your journey for sure. But the Sporjo and your meritocratic pathway for converting your passion into profession was something very well laid off. I think the 4 P's I'm going to put myself, even though I'm in the industry myself, I'm still going to use those 4 P's to talk about it. And I'm sure the listeners are going to enjoy this talk, and wish you all the best with Sporjo and making a difference to Indian sports industry. Looking forward to have more and more chats with you.
Thank you so much, Sid. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Take care and stay safe.
Thank you for liking. Thank you for sharing, and thank you for watching. We really appreciate all the support that you are giving to Sportsy Says. But please do subscribe on our channel, Sportsy Says, and help us spread the word. We go with the same handle, Sportsy Says, across all social media platforms. Help us spread the word about Sportsy. Let's talk sports.